Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Teresa Tim. I'm the General Manager of Midwest Family Dash, and we are delighted again that you're here joining us for another Wicked Smart webinar. This is a series of webinars for business owners, for managers, for sales reps to help you figure stuff out. Hopefully we have information for you that you can take in real time, and once you see the presentation, implement some things that you learn. Today's speaker, I'm excited to introduce you to. She's been working with our producer, Andy, being able to figure out and help you with some tips on how to keep and attract amazing employees during this time. Just so you know, this is a pretty informal conversation that we'd like to have with you. Less lecture and more dialogue. If you've got questions, I will be monitoring the chat box. You can put your questions there if you choose. Or since we have a smaller group, you certainly are able to unmute yourself and ask your question. We'll be able to answer those in real time, but just in case, at the end, we'll leave about 5 minutes or so for some Q&A to wrap up your questions and get the information that you need. And then when this webinar is done, you will get a recording of not only the presentation, but the information that Dawn is showing on the screen today. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Andy so he can introduce Dawn.
Thanks, TK. Welcome to the Wicked Smart webinar. We've been doing this for a few months now. Seeing a lot of good feedback and great speakers and different content and resources to help bring to you as business owners that, to help, think forward a little bit, think ahead, be a little bit more proactive than reactive in this business environment, and maybe help you innovate and things like that. So after being introduced to Dawn a few months ago, I think, when talking to her, I didn't actually think about how this change in the way we do business is an opportunity for each and every business owner in the market to not only be on the defensive to keep their good employees because of the seeds of doubt that might be going in their head of with changing times and scary media messages and all those things, but also seeing it as an opportunity to go after and be proactive and upgrade the talent on their team as an recruitment strategy. So I was really excited, or I am very excited to be able to introduce you to Dawn, and excited for her to share her expertise and years of experience to help assist you as a business owner. So Dawn, I'll let you take it from here, and we'll look forward to hearing your message.
All right. Thank you so much, Andy, and welcome, folks, to this awesome discussion about how to retain your talent and really build your talent pathway and pipeline into the future. So what I want to start with on that next slide is really about the current state of where we are. And really, when we look around us, we find that in the month of April, we had about 14% unemployment in Wisconsin. And beyond that, Moody's is projecting that we're going to be about 22% in the month of May. So really what we're seeing is a huge impact to our workforce. People looking around, some have been displaced from positions. And if you're in some of these particular industry sectors, you might have felt that either with your team or individuals that are close to you. And what we realize is that as talent is being shifted, moved around, whether it's willful or because of economic faults and tendencies here, what we're seeing is that we've got different levels of talent that are now on the market. And our goal in this process is to really figure out the best talent, how to keep the awesome talent you have, and how to add more to the pipeline to help your business achieve its results. Because we know that if you've got the right talent, you can achieve anything in an organization. If you don't have that right talent, you're really limiting your potential regardless of how strong and effective your organization is. And what we realize is, as Andy alluded to, is where people are right now is they're looking around. Even individuals that are currently in positions now, they're looking around and saying, what's the future going to be like? They're nervous. They're feeling pressures at home. They're feeling pressures perhaps financially. They're seeing that there's some instability in the stock market, and all of that rolls down to a level of turmoil and concern at home, as well as many folks are seeing changes in their job responsibilities at work. what used to be 3 people's job might now be shifting and you're picking up additional pieces from other individuals. Or perhaps your entire team is working remotely. That's an entirely different world, particularly for people who like to be connected at work, and you're somewhat disjointed now. Different mindset, different skills and tools that we're using that are requiring us to work differently, and all of that creates a level of uncertainty. And so what it looks like, frankly, is, we are these zebras, and we are here at the watering hole, and our teams are as well. We're drinking, we're showing up for work, but you know what? Our eyes are always looking at what's going on around us. Where's the next threat coming, and how are we positioning ourselves for that next threat? And so I'd like you to think about that for those of you who are leaders in organizations. Even though people are coming to work and all looks to be good, everyone seems to be engaged. When you peel back the covers a little bit, what you'll find is individuals are on edge, tense, and ready to bolt, if you will. And where they're likely to bolt is to a sweeter offer or another organization who can offer them some of that security that people are so looking for in this difficult time. And so who do we turn to when we've got those anxieties, those uncertainties in our world? Well, we turn to organizations, or are most tempted by organizations that we consider to be kind of those magnet employers, where you hear of, and the word on the street is that these organizations are high-performing organizations. They're the ones who are the places that you feel you're lucky to be able to work there. You get to work with these organizations, and what makes them different is that they have those visionary leaders that are setting the direction of the organization. And so that builds a sense of confidence within the team that they're moving in the direction that's going to make sense, take care of the future of the organization, and therefore maximize the talent. And one of the key individuals that often comes to mind when we talk about a magnet employer is Amazon. When they are building their second campus, how many people wanted to move in those areas and build businesses in those areas, all because of the ripple effect of Amazon. So that's what we want to create, if you will, as the energy and drive for a company that really wants to be a magnet employer and one that can retain their talent best. So now that you know the state of the world, if you will, that we're in, I want to focus on the 3 key objectives that we're going to be addressing during this content. The first, how to keep your amazing talent. What tips and tools and solutions are out there for that? How to create or put the foundation in place for a magnet culture. And then last but not least, how to get your A talent before your competition does. Truly an art. So with that, I want to share with you the story of 2 different individuals, and the names have been changed a little bit, obviously, for the privacy, but the person on the left we'll call Sally, and the person on the left is Daryl. Now, Sally is an expert call center operator. She's patient, she knows just about everything in her role, she smiles like this every single day. She trains new people, and she lets you know when you've got a bad hire. She can tell because she's been in the role long enough. And as she's been there, your turnover has been the lowest ever. When you compare your turnover to your competitors, she's a key to where you're at. And your customer retention has doubled since she's been on your team. She's key talent. Daryl, he's a sales team leader. He's been with you for 3 years, and he's doubled sales year over year each year. He reads his customers like a book, and his raving fans say that he's got some of the most demanding customers, yet they are your customers because of him. And he lets you know what customers want and need as key to your sales success. You need both Sally and Daryl, and likely you need others like them. So what does that take? The package of how an organization really becomes that magnet that keeps that key talent, we're going to focus on that blue circle, the right people and the right management. to have a solid performing organization, you need all of these pieces, and that's more for another day's conversation, but we're going to focus on the right people and the right management. Next, yeah, there you go. So when we look at Sally and Daryl, what do they really want in order to stay? First thing they want is purposeful work. They want to know that they're using their tools, their skills, their abilities, and all of what makes work special and meaningful to them at work. So they're going to want that purposeful work. They're also going to want to have some recognition from their leader, to know that when they've made a difference, that we share that with them, that we encourage them and let them know how important they are to us. That we also give them the ability to gain skills and knowledge and grow. Your best talent wants that, and that's often one of the keys to keeping them in the role into the future. And with that, they want to know that they're working with a team that allows them to be their best and supports one another. So Sally and Daryl are actually on the same team, and they feel that connection through the work that they do. So how to keep your amazing talent, what are some of the things that we find from the data, in addition to having that connection point with individuals and personal, purposeful work? They want to connect with their boss, their supervisor, and in meaningful ways. In that survey of 100,000 people, what we found is people need a little bit of affirmation. Doesn't mean that you've done revolutionary things that are fabulous, but motivating people to do better each day and to recognize and catch them in the act of when they're doing great work. They also want quality time with their supervisor to connect, as well as getting some help from the supervisor on a particular project. The concept of a mentor or a coach in many ways is what people look to from a quality supervisor. And let's be honest, a key supervisor is a connection to keeping your talent. So what is it that you can do in order to fully engage and retain your talent? Well, the bottom line is these 4 C's. The first one, and I bring the diamond there because, frankly, I think about these as carrots on a diamond. The first is to communicate. Communicate meaningfully in a timely way and in an authentic way to your team, to let them know when you're dealing with difficult times financially with the economics of the world around us. Let them know, not to scare them, but to let them know what you're doing about it, how you're positioning the company, and how you're engaging them and their contributions toward the organization's success. To connect regularly with them, I recommend organizations use the 80-20 rule, and that is spend 80% of your time with the 20% of the individuals who are making a difference and are your best talent. If you focus your time and resources on that, what you'll do is automatically motivate people that might not be in that top 20% performing group to get there, because it's who we connect with that matters. As humans, that motivates us more than we might realize. To counsel, again, connect in with individuals as a mentor and as a coach. How are they doing in their particular role? What might they need? How can we help them with knowledge, resources, tools, or mindset that can help them overcome some of their challenges? And the care piece is really on a personal level. Do you know your key talent on a personal level? What are their challenges, maybe at home? What are their challenges with their finances or whatever it might be? Being respectful, obviously, but letting them know that you care. And when we care for individuals as humans, we can open the door to deeper conversations and trust in the workforce. And it's who we have those great relationships to that really help us to retain that key talent. So moving on to the next point, now that you've created that and built up your key talent, now we want to suggest how to create that magnet culture. And one of the best examples that I found for this is an individual that I had the pleasure to meet back in the early 2010, 2011 era, and that's Nancy Schlichting. She, at the time, was the CEO of Henry Ford Health System. Now, when we speak about difficult economic times and creating the world of talent and solutions for that, Nancy's organization was in Detroit, Michigan. Now, for those of you who have seen the path of the coronavirus and all of the impact of Detroit, she was in the midst of an inner city healthcare system that this was 2011. So think back what happened in 2009. We were still coming out of the Great Depression in that time frame. And what Nancy and her team did is actually bring that organization in the heart of downtown Detroit to a level of excellence. And in doing that, she did it through creating a magnet culture. So I'd like to share with you a little bit about the story of Nancy's team. This is a snippet of some of her team, because I think they will say it best, pieces of what they achieved in that organization as a culture. Go ahead. Whoops. Did it go?
I'm Dr. Taft Parsons III. I'm the medical director and hospital director of Kingswood Hospital. Over a decade ago, we saw that there were many suicides as killers in our community. Social care program. I'm proud to be part of an organization that has worked for and achieved zero suicides.
I work in the outpatient hemodialysis unit, and I was involved in a team that worked on a project using antibiotic lock to prevent infections in dialysis patients. My name is Carol Moore. I work at Henry Ford Hospital in dialysis, and I'm proud to work at a place that strives for innovation.
Hi, my name is Kyla Page. I work at Henry Ford Wyandotte Hospital. We improve the quality of room service by making sure everyone has fresh fruit daily and that everyone is enjoying their customer experience. It's a whole new system. They take patients' call down to place their order. They can look through the menu, and we just make sure that they get it within 45 minutes. I'm proud to work for Henry Ford Health System, where every patient is treated like our treasured guest.
I'm the culinary wellness director at Henry Ford West Bloomfield Hospital and run the demonstration kitchen at West Bloomfield. We do classes that are disease specific behind people's certain eating needs, whether it be diabetic or celiac, Heart Smart type menus, Weight Watchers. When we bring in customers from outside, we put a fork in their mouth and get them to feel and believe that, gosh, I can do this. I'm Chef Frank Turner, and I'm helping saving lives one meal at a time.
All right. I love the fact that their passion comes across in what they're messaging to everyone in that group. And if you have an opportunity to listen further, there's some great stories in there, really reflective of a culture in action. And that's what a visionary leader helps to create. One where people come to work and deliver their very best because they want to. They realize that the cause that they're supporting is really the satisfaction and the building up of their customers through all of those different actions. And what we found in that is that not only was the whole group all in from a culture perspective, but they were connected to that mission, and they were connected to local community stakeholders who helped them bring that to life within their whole service area. They measured their performance as well to make sure that they were getting better so that they continuously had better processes and better results, all to reflect the benefit to their customers. And that data really helped them make sure that they were moving forward continuously, and they had action plans to continue to progress. What that does from an improvement level and from a culture level is it helps people see that every individual has a part in creating the better state, that their work really is so meaningful. And that goes back to what employees are really looking for at work, particularly the top employees. Next one. And then knowledge. You know, we talked about the importance of people learning and growing and building their capabilities. As each of those individuals and individuals in your organization are building that culture that you aspire to, they're going to grow, they're going to learn, they're going to improve, and that's going to be re-engaging them into the important work they're doing, building productivity, as well as the ability to grow effective teams. And all that does is really connect the pieces across the organization. So if you have, in many organizations, you've got some teams that are really connected, engaged, and doing important work. But when you're trying to really find and develop that culture that supports a talent across the organization, you need to connect different departments and deal with the silos that might be existing. So high-performing organizations with that magnet culture truly believe that every point touches another, and they work on the whole organization's collaboration, support, and coordination, all to meet the customer's needs. Excellent leaders, visionary leaders, hold their team accountable. Not only the work teams, but the leaders of the organization, accountable to results, accountable to engagement, and accountable to following the vision that's going to meet those customers' requirements. One of the things we find from organizations that struggle sometimes with retaining talent is we often hear people say there was not accountability by our leaders. They knew what they were supposed to be doing, but when it didn't happen, no one really had consequences. So the importance of this is really to make sure that as a leader of those organizations, not only do you set a clear path, but you have to hold people accountable for making progress and then celebrating when people achieve it. And one of the ways to do that is by benchmarking as well, is by saying, yes, we're good. We know we're good compared to where maybe our market is, but are we moving on the path to really being as high performing as we possibly can? And we do that by benchmarking with the best organizations. Visionary leaders use benchmarking to help motivate their teams toward their potential. And A Talent truly wants that. And creating that magnet culture is all about that visionary leader and their role in engaging the team. And so what I'd like to do is share with you just a little bit about a story from Nancy's perspective. Now, she, again, was the CEO of the organization in 2011, and she was truly an inspiration to her team. In fact, when I heard her talk about their experience in the organization, it was compelling for even me to consider maybe Detroit's where I want to be and need to be. So that's truly the power of that visionary leader and what you can connect with talent in order to motivate people who might not be interested at all to jump over the fence and say, yes, I want to be part of your team. So what she did is really through that visionary leadership, she created that culture of innovation. You heard her team talk a little bit about that. Revolutionary programs, empowered teams to identify what their potential could be and achieve it, and then held leaders accountable for getting those results on plan. She also developed regional partnerships. A cool example of this is they developed a garden on the rooftop of one of the buildings in Henry Ford Health System. Now, can you imagine downtown Detroit? The chef was actually focused on that as a service of bringing quality natural food to the patients while they were there. Quite innovative, and they were able to do that at a positive cash flow, so even better in the process. And as a result, they created a buzz in the community and achieved what is recognized at the National Baldrige level of a world-class performance organization. Truly a magnet culture. So I want you to hear a couple of words from Nancy on this story to get a sense of what visionary leadership sounds like.
We won the Baldrige Award was because of an extraordinary team effort of all of our 30,000 people that really support the health system, including 24,000 employees, our physicians, our private physicians, our volunteers, our board members. It is everyone's effort that really culminated in this wonderful recognition. And it wouldn't have happened without a site visit that really allowed everyone to shine. And I think one of the things the Baldrige examiners were very clear on was that we had created a culture of excellence, a culture that drives continuous improvement. And that was clear in talking with about 1,200 of our employees and volunteers and physicians who participated in the site visit process. Winning the Baldrige Award really tells our patients and their family members that this is an organization that is constantly striving for perfection in what they do and improvement constantly, and that we have internal process as well as results that demonstrate that standard of excellence.
So I think you get a sense from Nancy's words of some of the pieces that were important, but I wanted to share that also from a scale perspective. 30,000 employees, pretty impressive accomplishment to align, motivate, and get everyone on the same page, and imagine how much awesome talent she had in the course of that. And truly they became a magnet for that success journey. And the key pieces, again, visionary leadership, having a clear plan and direction of how to move forward that people are inspired by and engaged in. Valuing and supporting your stakeholders, she clearly brought them into the process. Efficient and effective processes. Your key talent will be frustrated if there are things broken continuously and they have to keep bringing things forward and nothing is done. What you really need to do in order to retain that key talent is to ensure that you're hearing that feedback and taking action and letting people know if it's not the first thing that you really want or need to focus on, why it's not, and when it will be addressed. Using data-driven decisions, always very key, that people can understand the why and that we're holding people accountable for executing on those decisions, and all of that yields high performance results. And let's face it, your key talent wants to be in a high performing organization that's hitting on all cylinders and achieving great work. So the third part of what we want to cover today is all about how to attract talent ahead of your competitors. And with this one, I want to share with you again, 21.8% unemployment is Moody's projection going forward. What that means is you're facing a tsunami of talent coming at you. Now with that, not all of them are going to be A talent. You're going to have a mix of individuals who are looking for that next opportunity, and your job is to really sift out of the information they give you, who are the folks that you really want to add to your team. And what I would share with you is what SHRM, Society of Human Resource Management, has shared, is that about 74% of resumes have missing or misleading information. Now that was a shocker to me, but when you think about the concept of skinny resumes and what people include or choose not to include, here's a little snippet of how that might look. You've got an individual who's applying for a position. Maybe they've been 3 years with a current employer, and they've been in their current role for about 9 months. Maybe they've been a sales manager promoted 9 months ago. They may be applying for a sales manager position in your organization, and you look at their resume because it appears that they've been working for that organization in that role for 3 years. In reality, the individual's been in that role for 9 months. They may not be as strongly performing as they wanted or needed to be, and they might be at risk of losing their position. You wouldn't know that from what's on the resume. So that's why you need a little deeper dive to find out more information as your screening process helps you really sort out that key talent. Let's talk a moment about why people leave. There are 4 disengagement factors that we know from the science of human psychology. And the first is really the job fit. The second is the team fit. The third is the fit with their manager. And the fourth is their fit with the organization's culture. When any of these are not where the person matches and wants and feels connected to, there's a risk for leaving some of your talent. And why do they stay? The key reasons why people stay: a relationship with their manager that is viewed as a coach, a support, a guide, one who has your back, if you will. Another piece here is the opportunity to do really important work, to create things that are substantive and meaningful. For example, what about the people now who are working on teams to create vaccines for the virus? You could offer them the world, and if they're knee-deep in a project that is focused on creating such an awesome outcome, they're not likely to leave. The third piece over there is, do you have a best friend or social network at work? When you're connected to people at work, you tend to stay because of those relationships. And the fourth one is all about, again, building skills, knowledge, and education, because particularly our millennial group wants to continue to add skills and capacity, if you will, capabilities through the course of our work life, so that we can get to a next opportunity that's going to be more enjoyable, more of a connection for us, and more of a great opportunity for career growth. So how to create the A talent that you're looking for? Now, first, start with a talent strategy. And people sometimes say to me, well, what is a talent strategy? It's not that we need to hire 3 people in this particular department. The talent strategy is looking at what your needs are for your talent now and into the future. So particularly if you've got someone who's going to be retiring in the next 3 to 5 years, your talent strategy should put in place a path to cover that. In addition to, if you're changing your technology or your services, looking for people who have technology skills and training are key as a part of your talent strategy. And what we find is only about 37% of organizations have a talent strategy. So it's really important for everyone to have that internal conversation, say, do we have a plan? And if not, we need to create one. The second piece, building that strong internal talent pipeline, so that you do have a path for individuals who want to grow and advance their abilities to stay with you. If they match the culture, match the team, you want to help grow your expertise internally. Creating that brand buzz, certainly I defer to my Midwest family here to help with that process. And it's really all about creating excitement within the organization as well as outside the organization about what your company is all about, what you aspire to achieve, and your success thus far and plan into the future. So people like looking at Amazon are saying, wow, look at where this organization is going into the future. Selecting the best candidates, there is a 4-step process that really helps organizations be as successful as possible. And I'll touch on that in just a moment. And then re-engaging your A talent continuously, keeping those relationships with the supervisor or the leader in close contact so you can continue to nurture those relationships and retain them. So the old way of selecting A talent is really you post positions, you wait, you filter. It doesn't work well in the era of skinny resumes, frankly, because as I mentioned before, you've got some individuals that really aren't showing the full picture on that resume, and you have to dig deeper to get the real truth. Skills tests, they help somewhat in the process, but they really don't show you the behaviors that someone's going to demonstrate at work. They tell you the package they bring, but what I share with organizations is there's a difference between what someone can do and what they will do at work. And what we really want to find out is what will people come to work and do each day, feel fulfilled, feel engaged, and want to help the organization be successful. And kicking the tires, we have some individuals who will just apply to many things just because they're curious what's out there. Is the grass greener elsewhere? You want to be able to filter them as well. So what works better is a combination of direct marketing, video interviews, and then some profiling of what the job actually requires to a match of what the candidates bring to the table. So from a direct marketing, the biggest approach now for finding A talent is frankly to reach out to individuals who are currently employed in the field and identify who might be interested in an appealing offer to another entity. With that, the video interviews, the benefit of that is we get to see how someone's communication skills are. If you listen to some of the thought leaders nationally, they will share with you that communication skills and ability is one of the key talents that you always want to be looking for in your selection. Behavioral and cognitive job profiling, they really tell you not only whether the person will deliver what you want and need them to do in that job, but if they have the learning ability to do it and do it well. And that's what that cognitive profiling is all about. If you talk with Warren Buffett, he referenced recently, he said, if there's one key factor you want to look for in making the decision about key talent, focus on learning ability, because that is the key to the future success as roles merge and are transformed into the future. Job-based skill assessments, they're helpful if you can get them specific to what the skills are. More impactful is to find out whether the behavioral and cognitive match matches what the job requires and is the best fit to the person's comfort. And then behaviorally based interviews are all about identifying how a person has performed in the past, and your past performance is the best indicator of what their future performance will be. This is giving you a little bit of an impact of the percentage success with each of the things that folks may be using now as predictors of your talent success. If you look at, educational level and reference checks, and many of the parameters we might currently use have very small levels of placement success probability, whereas what does work is that combination of their behavioral evaluation, their cognitive evaluation, and those behavioral interviews. So that's what I would really recommend to do your very best in selecting that best talent. So what to use and what to do: develop that talent magnet culture. As much as you can possibly communicate and develop the pieces that I shared earlier about what a high-performing culture is about, that will help you re-engage and keep your best talent. Knowing what each person wants and needs. I gave you some generalities of what people are looking for. Getting to know each individual and their drivers are important because that shows that you care, respect, and want to nurture and develop them. Matching the candidate to the job, team, and culture. We know if we don't, they will be disengaged. It's a matter of time, and you want to obviously get them placed best so they're happy, content, and will stay. Developing your leaders continuously to re-engage that A talent is critical. We know that most individuals leave organizations because of their relationship with their leader. If we strengthen that relationship, we've automatically got a great pipeline to retain and develop your best talent. And then visionary leaders, you can't hide in a cubicle. You've got to be out there and connecting with your team as well, so that they can see and be re-inspired and re-engaged in who you are and what you're about for the company on a regular basis. So with that, we all want to keep the Sallys and the Daryls on our team. And if you act upon the things that I've shared, you will indeed be able to re-recruit them, and they will indeed help you to re-recruit others. And so that even when that dream job comes on with Amazon, they're going to say, no, I've got things pretty good right here. So my goal for you out of this session is that you take an important first step to get better. I've shared a lot of different things to work on. I'd encourage you to take a close look at your own organization, find out where you are and where it makes sense for you to make the next steps going forward. Find one thing, commit to do it, and actually achieve it. And one giveaway or option I would offer to you is, in order to help in that process, we're dealing with difficult times. And I've got a white paper that gives you some tips and resources and information to help you really move forward on that progress with talent selection and optimization during difficult times. We've never seen anything like this before, and to weather it well, we need support, we need guidance, and we need resources in the process to your success. So with that, thank you for the opportunity, and I'll be happy to respond to any questions.
All right, thanks a lot, Dawn. We'll just wait a second as people open up the comment box and ask questions. Sometimes it takes a second to reacclimate and re-engage. So TK, are you seeing any questions right now?
I didn't unmute myself. I said no, we have nothing right now in the chat box, but if we have a few minutes left here, if you just want to unmute yourself instead of spending time typing, feel free and ask a question while Dawn is still available.
Yes, Dawn, I have a question. You mentioned that projected unemployment for May is about 22%. And here in Michigan, I think that's about where we're at too. How does that factor with the payroll protection program that may not be extended Do you anticipate that number going much higher in the very near future?
Well, I'm looking at the markets as well as listening to that evolve on a daily basis. And the sense that I'm getting is that it's still going to go up a little bit higher, but then we are expecting that to level off a little bit. So I don't think that 21.8 or 22 is going to be the peak. And so putting some measures in place now to really help get people back where we can. In terms of our funding and support through the PPP, I think it's anyone's guess whether we're going to see anything further moving forward. I know there's a variety of stimulus packages and options that are moving forward. We know that this is not going to be a recovery that's going to happen in weeks. It's going to be months, and if not, the rest of this year. So,
Thank you, Dawn. I do have a question from the chat. Is there a correct way to train people to talk to or react to customers, teach a neutral attitude that doesn't get perceived as rude?
absolutely. The first and foremost element is to find your best practices and have them either be able to observe those individuals in action, because then it's relative. It's relevant to your particular target and enabling you to really showcase some best practices within your team that motivates them and engages others. If you don't have someone who's really demonstrating that high level of performance in your team, then what I would suggest is actually create some vignettes that showcase that, and then have people view those and respond to those in order to make it real for them.
Thank you. We've got time for one more question before we wrap up.
Dawn, I have Dan Ganey in Eau Claire. I have a question for you. You talked a lot about talent, hiring talent. How do you feel about having all talent, or is sometimes it a good idea to have different skill levels among your team?
Excellent question. Thank you, Dan. There is benefit to having obviously broader talent in order to get the job done, because we know that not everyone will be a talent in an organization. What we do want to make sure is that we've got the key 20% folks who are the drivers in each of the different service areas or product lines that you're focused on. You need to have key talent in each of those arenas, and they can be supported by others. Ideally, the more of that talent that you can find and add to your team, the higher level of performance you'll have and the better level of retention you'll have, because frankly, the best people want to be with the best people, and you'll continuously re-engage them and have them achieve their very best.
Thank you, Dawn. Appreciate all this information. It was outstanding. I really do appreciate you and what you're doing. Andy, would you please give folks a heads up on what's happening at our next Wicked Smart, which is June 11th?
Absolutely. So this is kind of the second series that we'll be doing on being able to help increase your ROI on your advertising. So this particular one, Kyle and I, we had talked about Google Analytics on the last one. The next one, we're going to be talking about remarketing and how remarketing, retargeting can increase sales and leads for any business. And if you're not familiar with the term, it's basically advertisers' ability to kind of follow you around the internet based off of you doing something. So visiting a website, you know, if you're shopping for a pair of boots and that pair of boots follows you around the internet. Any business can employ and utilize tactics and strategies like that, but it's kind of hard to sort through all the technology and what to do first, and it can be overwhelming. So Kyle and I are going to unpack it, hopefully bring it down to a level where everyone understands it, and talk about some things and how you can benefit from implementing stuff like that. So again, a topic I'm super nerdy about, super excited about, bringing Kyle on to talk through it too, and look forward to seeing you all again in 2 weeks.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your week, and we will see you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you.